Hello, everybody. Today, myself and my friend and my husband are going to be tier ranking Elden Ring bosses, kind of in honor of Shadow of the Erdtree coming out. But these are obviously specifically going to be bosses pre-Shadow of the Erdtree, and we're going to be ranking them based off of three things, which would be the actual fight itself and how well we feel like it was designed, the literal design and look of the character, and then how memorable they are. And the memorable factor is kind of the one that I think is going to separate a lot of us, although you two play very different from me. So maybe the fight factor is going to be where I argue with the two of you. So really quick, because you play exactly the same, Roger, would you like to let people know your play style and Sean's play style?
Oh, we are 100% laser to win.
Kamehameha.
You pop Golden Vow before you go into the fight. You pop the little Magica insignia thing underneath your feet. You pop your flask to get infinite mana, and then you hold down your spell until it's dead. Or until it moves out of the beam, and then you want to cry, and then it kills you.
We are beam boys.
Do you summon your mimic to slightly distract it, or do you use something else?
Depends on my mood. Usually, sometimes I will, sometimes I won't, because sometimes that just takes too much time, and it's already so much setup trying to like pop the stupid insignia and drink your potion, and like having the distraction isn't helpful because I want it to come straight at me so it stays in the beam for as long as possible.
Right. Well, and sometimes they just take forever to like hold their little
thing, that's the
and
thing.
you're just like, come on. Especially, I find right after, if it's the first time you're going up against a boss, not necessarily first time ever, but if you're replaying it, if it's a cutscene, they come at you so much faster out of a cutscene than they do if you lost and then go to fight. So I almost feel like it's not worth doing anything.
Yeah, I'll be so curious because I heard that that's very different in Shadow of the Erdtree, that they come straight at you all the time, and I'm like, oh god, how am I supposed to set up all of my things?
I'm supposed to be able to have a second to go zoom and then glug 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 and then like
yeah. So that's how they play. I am a strength build. I have the halberd and just chonky armor. And
your build is square, circle. Square.
It's mostly, it's mostly dodge, risk a hit, or risk the shouting. They're like, ha, and they stomp, and then depending on the enemy, it can stun them, which is, when I get that on stupid Malenia, it's the most satisfying thing. It's like, yes, if me and my
Is that
mimic,
your Ash of War that you have equipped? Yes.
yes, and if my, is that technically a hammer or a halberd? I don't know. But anyway, if I have my mimic and I start timing the shouting move, like just off of each other, it's amazing because it's just
also really funny to listen to. It's just yelling.
Malenia is the one that I don't do the laser to win because it doesn't work. I had to use Death's Rancor or something, one of the death spells that shoots out all these little skulls that have really high stagger, and you can just like stun lock the crap out of her with.
Dude, I kicked Malenia's butt. But
you did use the beam though, I think, but she got distracted.
Did, and I used the moon, the one that like follows them.
Which one? Ronnie's one or Rennala's one?
The dark moon one.
The Ronnie's one, the one that makes him take more magic damage.
Yes, I believe that's correct.
So.
Anyways,
on that note, that is I know there's a boss that I definitely don't hate as much as Sean. Sean despises one of them, which we'll get to. I'm going to start with one that I feel like I don't know that any of us are going to have super positive or negative feelings for, which is the Fallingstar beast. So that's our first one. It's on the beginning, just so it's easier to see. I'll go ahead and start it in the middle.
Is it the one that's outside Volcano Manor, like on a random mountain?
Yep. Yeah, and there's other things that look kind of like it, but yes, that is.
It looks like a bowl with like pinchers.
Yep.
I forgot it existed until you mentioned it again.
So it gets like a 0 in the memorability factor for you.
And it's not that difficult either. It's not like a particular, like, it just charges at you and grabs you with its pinchers. That's all I really remember it doing.
It's more annoying than anything. I don't think it's a poorly designed fight. Because some of them I do think
are... It's not BS. It's like fine. Like it's...
Yeah.
It does what you think it would do based on how it looks. It's just not very exciting. Besides the weird factor of like, why does it have a bug head?
Yeah. So I like the design because it's unique. It's cool. It's a cool concept. But the memorability factor, it's like, I didn't completely, there are some that I literally am like, who's that again? Every time they come up. So this one's not that. I know it immediately. So I would say it's decent in the memorability factor. The design is fine. So this one for me is just kind of, I think it's right in the middle. What do you think, Sean?
Yeah, I agree. I don't have feelings towards it one way or the other. I think it's probably more annoying for you because you have to get close to it and like knocks you around, but I'm pretty sure it's just like
I think the landscape,
you can hit it with spells, and
the landscape's more annoying than the enemy itself because the landscape is like a
crater.
bowl.
Yeah.
So it is kind of annoying trying to get close to it and hit it because sometimes the angle ends up being a mess.
Yeah, just stay out of it. Night comment.
Yeah, for me, I'm like, maybe it's B, maybe it's C. It's not D. It's not like I loathe it.
Yeah, D is absolute garbage all around, right? Even if it's memorable for all the wrong reasons. It's not good reasons. So D is just, we absolutely despise it.
I don't have strong feelings about it one way or another. It's
a good, just average.
Yeah. Next up, Knights Cavalry. I have the stupidest opinion of just thinking this is the coolest thing ever, even though it's not that unique. Because Sean, every time they come up, do you want to say what you always say they are?
The Nazgul.
Yeah, every time they come up, which I don't think you're alone in thinking that, but
no.
I can hear the music when they show up. The idea of them showing up only at night is cool. They look awesome. The fact that the very
there's 9 of them, right?
There's a lot of them. Depending on when you find it, the one that's in the ice area, the desecrated snowfield, I think is what it's called. There's 2 of them. They're following along a troop of, people. You can technically get their armor and stuff. I just think it's awesome all around, but I don't feel like it probably deserves to be S tier. I just think it's really cool.
I think maybe A, because especially the first time you see them, it's pretty cool.
I will say finding them sometimes, the one that's in that area that's kind of forested between the academy and the what is it called? The autumn land, I'm going to call it. There's that section when we're trying to find that one took forever. I don't know why. It was really aggravating though. That was really hard to find. But that's not really part of the fight itself. Sean, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, they're cool. I think
mechanistically they're not super unique or anything like that.
Yeah,
but
I don't like fighting the stuff that's on a horse. I find it a little tedious, but I find horse fighting tedious in a lot of games. It's just like,
what's wrong with fighting on the horse? Is it because you keep trying to use your beam and they move too much?
No, I just mean like even like
the
if you just kill the horse. You just kill the horse and they fall off.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying like I don't like it. Sorry, Roger.
Well, I'm like, why? I'm trying to understand why. What about
the horse fights?
Because if you're on your horse, whatever it's called, I feel like you end up just running at each other and like, I hope I got him.
Oh, I never fight on my horse. I always jump off immediately.
I think that as far as the enemies that you have to essentially horse fight, I'll call it, which you don't, like Roger just said, you don't have to be on.
You
a
don't
horse
have to joust with them.
Yeah,
you have to.
but I think as far as the horse enemies, I'll call them, go, I think this one's much less annoying than the other ones. Because
That's
like you said, Roger, you can knock them off the horse and then you just destroy them while they're on the ground. It's kind of sad. Whereas the ones we'll get to later, there is one that we get to later that does drive me up a wall. So
your hatred of horse fighting, where does that put the little Shadow Knight people for you, Sean? Is it B, C?
Oh, no, I think they're still cool.
Okay.
They have the cool factor.
You just think as far as the fighting itself that it's not top tier fighting.
I just don't think it's like that interesting.
Right.
I mean, because there's just so many other enemies on horses. It's like,
well, we can put it in A for now. We can always bump it down later if it gets edged out by other things, because I have no idea what all is on this list. There's like 100-something bosses in freaking Elden Ring. Like, I have no idea which one made the list and didn't make the list.
31 on here.
it's a lot.
So technically 30, and then one of them kind of is sort of a mix of things, which will make sense later. But I definitely think it's cooler than Fallingstar beasts. These are way more memorable to me.
Yeah, I agree.
So I don't mind it being here. I'm with you, Roger, where if we wanted to, adjust later. But I'm happy with it in A because I think it's awesome. Next up, awesome. I'm putting this in the same Margit/Morgott. Where does this rank for you, Sean? I'm going to put everything to start in the middle just so it's always visible.
Well, I think when you first get to Margit, this is one of the first bosses you probably come across, unless you decide to go
stupid tree sentinel.
Yeah, I was gonna say unless you decide to go gallivanting and
we don't even gallivant. It's like right in your face. I want.
Oh yeah. When you get out there, yeah. I think it's cool. I mean, like, I think the second fight, much later, whatever is that Margit at that point? Whatever,
Morgott when he's in Lindell, and Margit when he's outside Stormvale.
That one's got more going on. He does that weird like yellow light, shiny.
If
attack.
He lives long enough.
I know. I was gonna say. I feel like at that point I was just like, beam, he's dead. But which I liked that bonus points for being able to just beam him to death. But I think it's fun.
It's any kind of. I feel like no matter how you play, it's so easy the second time. I don't know. Isn't it in Lindell that you come across him like when you're kind of elevating through? And I remember when I came across him, if I'm not mistaken, I could be misremembering.
You come across him 3 times technically, right? You come across him the first time in Stormvale. You come across him the second time when there's like a random grunt enemy in the like arrow field outside of Lindell on your way up, and he like randomly turns into Morgott like out of nowhere. You're like, excuse me, sir. And then there's the third time where he actually like breaks open his staff and has his weird like oil sword thing.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's the third is what I was referring to as a second, because you are right about the arrow field. But when he shows up again.
Well, I forgot about it. And when I got there last night, I was like, wait, excuse me, sir, can you please stop chasing me?
When he shows up, you're like, no, I just want to save. And then you kill him instantly. You're like, oh, okay, that's fine. It's one of the only times that it's not actual your fear realized. It's like your fear dissipated.
And he turns into a poor little withered husk on the ground that you can talk to, where he's just like...
So I say middle because he is memorable. And the first fight, I'll go off of the first fight when he actually likely lives for a decent amount of time. Because like Sean said, it's more than likely one of the first times you encounter any form of a boss. And I did feel like the first time I encountered him, I definitely had to learn his moves, which that does mean, in my opinion, that the mechanics of the fight are well developed, because you can learn his moves and you can figure out how to time it. The only thing is stupid rolling off of the edge in the first one is so annoying. Oh my gosh. But I still think that's more of a... I don't know that I should think of the arena as part of the fight. I don't know if that's too many factors. I'll just think about the enemy.
Well, plus so I feel like the arena is fairly designed, because yes, you can roll off the edge, but it is quite a big arena, and it's only happening because you're running away too much. And the more you put, it's like teaching you that you can't play like Dark Souls, because in Dark Souls you could run, and getting that space was really beneficial. In Elden Ring, it's so not. So I think that was punishing for a lot of people, where you're like, okay, I have to actually be like aggressive.
For me, it was just like, I just need to get away long enough to know what's what so that I can learn it, because none of my moves are from a distance. Everything I have to get right up personal. But anyway, so I think this one for me is middle. We don't need to, for now, we can change this at the end. We don't need to worry about ranking within each tier. So for now, I'm just going to say middle. Would you both agree with that?
I think he's A. I think he's pretty.
Yeah, I actually think he's better than middle. Yeah.
Okay. I was thinking maybe
I'm thinking about him in relation to the others, like versus Knights, Cavalry, and Star Beast. He is more memorable, more to his mechanics. There is like 2 phases, especially in his second time, if he lives long enough. Like,
yeah. I agree with Roger.
Plus, him leaping off of Stormvale Castle is pretty epic. His whole little dramatic, like...
Intro. All the voice actors are pretty great. And then
Obviously,
There's
a lot better than that.
There's some, and then there's a particular one that's really interesting. They went for something. Anyway, next up, Godrick. So, Roger, you can kick this one off. Where would you put Godrick?
He's memorable, but he's gross, and I don't really like him very much.
Dude, he rips his... Well, no, he rips the dragon's head off.
Yeah.
And then he rips his arm off, right? And he's like...
He's very disturbing to look at. And I don't feel like... I feel like Margit Morgott is like a more interesting fight because he doesn't do a whole lot besides kind of flail around and like jump at you with a sword until he starts breathing fire with the dragon head. Again, if he lives long enough to do so. Which he does the first time, obviously. In New Game Plus, it's always like all bets are off. If it's not dead in 5 seconds or less, I am. So,
what did you think, Sean?
I think he's gross, also, but memorably gross. In terms of the fight, I mean, I kind of agree. He kind of just. He kind of just has lots of arms and he holds lots of different, like an axe or a sword, or he's like, So I don't know.
He's the one that does the whirlwind
Yeah.
move, and then in the second phase, you have to figure out which fire move he's using. So I definitely don't think it's a negative, because not. Well, it is unique, and it is memorable, and the fight is memorable too. It's not just the design of the character.
Until he's randomly in one of those jails, except like with a slightly different name, so it's like somehow supposed to be like a relative of his or something like that, but it's literally like him again.
I think B or A is fine with me. I'm not going to fight really hard to put him in A. If you guys both think he belongs in B, but I certainly think he's memorable, and I liked the design of him.
Dungeon is more memorable than him for me because Stormveil is so cool, and he's not quite as cool as Stormveil, like aesthetically. I'm sure Stormveil was awful for you because tiny walkways with nowhere to roll except for gravity to kill you.
On New Game Plus. I was like, I'm not going all the way around. I just charged through.
Through the main gate getting shot at?
Yeah, because I have an unbelievable amount of health. So I was like, I can take it. The worst is when they all start hitting you at the same time with their stupid crossbow bolts or whatever, or the really massive. So
I would be fine with him top of B or bottom of A. Either way is fine. Because he is, I do remember
he deserves
him.
A. I think he deserves A.
Cool. Okay.
That's the thing. I think like most of these I think are pretty cool, with the exception of one.
I'm so curious
I'm
what
gonna
it
be
is
pretty
when we
boring.
get there.
Don't worry, I have some negative feelings.
I see the stupid gargoyle. That guy can go suck a big fat D.
You mean both of them can? Each other's? So, the Red Wolf. For me, Red Wolf is at least A tier because I just
That's
love...
the one that's in the middle of the academy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the design. The fight is cool. The way it's in this hall, almost like church looking, is awesome. And the fact that it's weapons in its mouth, I just think it's so great. Everything about it I love. I do think it's kind of an easy fight, but maybe it's not as much for both of you because it does leap around a lot. For me, it was not that difficult because I think it takes damage pretty, like it really gets hit if you manage to hit it decently.
I don't think it's bad for either of us because at this point you don't have the beam. So at this point you're still like magic pebbling for the win.
Gotcha. I still love it though, and maybe
I think
other
it's a really
people
cool
think
boss, and it's very Sith coded from Dark Souls 1. So it was like a nice like fan little servicey. So I think it's really cool. I think it's A for sure.
What do you think, Sean?
I think it's cool. I like it.
Put it
Also, there's like little ones, not little one, like they're about the same size, but they like show up in wherever I was gonna say wherever the tier is, the mimic.
Yeah, right. So Nox Stella is the other area, is that right? And then they both have Nock in the name, right?
I think Nokron is the one that had the mimic that you had to fight.
Yeah.
Because I just did it last night.
There's little ones in that area. And then there's some in the I think there's some in the area where Ronnie's
there's another big one on top of that plateau.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so yay, none of us were too upset. Okay, Rennala. I hate
her.
Magic users always do.
Well, no, I hate her also just because the initial part of that fight with those stupid singing children that are crawling around being annoying and weird. Like, it's just annoying, and I don't think it's that well designed because they're always like hiding behind some stupid shelf somewhere, and you're like, okay, well, let me just do a lap of the arena to go find it real quick.
Yeah, I think it was an attempt at being unique and different, and it is kind of just
I find it annoying. Like the second part of the fight is really cool when we're on like the lake with the gigantic moon in the background. That one is fine, and it's like more annoying because I have to swap. Usually I just bonk her with my sword because it's way easier than trying to shoot her with magic because she's so friggin' resistant. But like, it's that first part of the fight that I think drags it down when she's in her little like invulnerable cocoon, and then you have to go beat on children that like chew on your shoe. And in those show cutscene, there's like one just like gnawing on your foot.
I maybe disagree as far as like I definitely think it's weird, but it's sort of fitting to her when it invites you to look up more about her lore because you sort of get in that area and you're like, what the heck? This is so weird. But then there's nothing else that has weird little children things and
chewing on your shoes.
So yeah, and I will agree though that the frustration is dependent on how much you have to search for those stupid little things because sometimes they're a little more obvious and then other times they're so hard to find. For me, as long as I find them pretty quick, I can usually take her out pretty much the first time she falls down because she's so weak. So that's pretty easy. And then I think the second portion of the fight, like you said, is just so cool. At the very least, she's extremely memorable. There's no other fight really like hers. And I definitely think the design of the fight is, even if it's frustrating, I think it's interesting.
But her spells aren't even that interesting because she just uses the same spells you have. So, like, for me, I'm like, if you're going to have this cool, crazy, like, magic, college-leading, epic badass, like, why does she have just the same spells I have? Like,
I kind of like that, though, because it's cool that the idea that you're getting the things that are essentially going to have been taught or would have been taught at that academy.
But then, like, some of the stuff are, like, primal sorceries that were, like, outlawed, which is why one of the guys got kicked out and died on Volcano Manor. So, like, yes and no, because then she's also technically using, like, forbidden spells. And then there's, like, the added layers of confusion of, like, why is, like, Ronnie's voice there? Because, like, is it all just, like, a hallucination? And she's, like, summoning a figment of her mommy? Like, it's very bizarre.
So, which tier would you put it in?
I would put her in C, probably.
No! I will disagree. No. Sean, where would you put it?
I think she's B.
I think she's A, so that cancels out to B.
To B, so she can stay where she is.
I just so heavily disagree. I like her fight. I think that Margit, Morgott, and Godrick are more alike than she is. Like, she really stands out to me, so it's like hurting me a little that she's lower. But we'll move on.
I wore her hat for a while.
I used her staff for a while.
Yeah.
All right, just so it's on display, we have, is it pronounced Leonine, the misbegotten?
Oh, the Leonine misbegotten at the bottom of whatever, that random castle.
Yeah. I would put this in C. I forget about it. It was easy.
Well, it also just becomes like a regular mob later, so it's very like not memorable. Because in Lane Dell, there's just like them wandering around, which I'm never a fan of. Like, if it's good enough to be a boss, it shouldn't become like a regular mob later. It always kind of annoys me.
It does look kind of cool, though. I like it.
Yeah, I don't think it doesn't anger me,
C
which is why it doesn't anger me the way some of them do. So I don't think it deserves D, but I also just think all around it's not particularly memorable. The fight is fine. Like you said, it's just
you
similar.
Can get a sword, right? Once you kill him.
I think that's
sure.
right.
I mean, its sword isn't that exciting. So
yeah,
okay, the next one would be Ancestor Spirit, which I think looks. I'm always partial to the ones that look like animals. So
and it looks awesome, but it's not very difficult in any capacity to fight. I guess maybe more as a melee because you have to chase it down.
I just think it looks cool.
Oh no, it definitely looks cool.
I think
I hate the areas to unlock it, to go hit the stupid fires with the stupid spirits with the damn arrows that shoot you from miles.
You don't love the so annoying. It drives me crazy. I will simultaneously sing along and then shout how annoying it is every time I have to go to that area for any reason. I think it is memorable in its appearance and its design. Like, its design is so good that that's what makes it memorable. I do not remember the fight at all, though.
Yeah.
It just like bounces around on the air and like bounces away, and then you have to go like chase it down. So I think B then, right? If you can't even remember the mechanics, but it looks cool, then B.
That's how I feel. What do you think, Sean?
I think that's fair.
Do you remember it at all?
No.
Not really. No.
I just remember I was like, that's kind of nifty.
I don't know how we're all going to feel, but next up is Radahn.
I mean, S.
Yeah, that's what I'm putting it in. What do you think, Sean?
It's pretty cool. It's pretty fun.
He is really strong and really obnoxious, but like fair when you learn what you're doing. You can also summon like an army of people to go try to like distract him. And the first time he jumps up in the air and comes at you like a freaking meteor, like, come on.
Also,
also he rides a tiny little horse thing.
His horse, that he learned gravity magic so that he could ride his horse forever. Yeah.
Don't remind me of that. The fact that Patches just dips, though, if you notice, if you get all those people, and then Patches is just, what does it say when they leave? He doesn't get killed. He just leaves. Anyway, I think the arena itself is amazing. I like how I started being like, I don't know if I'm going to bring arenas into the equation, and now I'm bringing it in constantly. But the arena is unlike pretty much any of the other ones. The fight is unlike any of the other ones. It's absolutely memorable. The design is interesting. And what I said about Rennala, where it sort of invites you to want to look up the lore, I feel like that's true of this character as well. Plus the fanfare of just even getting to that point is a lot.
Plus, nothing about his fight is BS. Like, you have plenty of time to respond to stuff. If he jumps on you and kills you, it's kind of your fault. Like, there's nothing about his fight where you're like, that wasn't balanced. It's like, it's fine.
The first time I defeated him, it was definitely glitching on me, though, where he just wouldn't stop going. And, you know, when he starts to sort of charge in, I don't know if he goes in an exact circle, but he, like, leans a certain way. And it just wouldn't stop doing that. So I feel like it sort of glitched out on me, because then I just kept hitting him, and it wasn't very hard. So, Sean, you also agreed S tier?
I do.
Yeah, he matches the tier also. Okay, next up for me is our first D, which is the Magma wyrm.
The one that's blocking when you're trying to go up to the Altus Plateau for the first time at the end of the like sketchy way.
Yes.
Or the one on the mountaintop of the giants. Aren't there two different magma wyrms? I guess they're kind of the same thing.
There's one that pops up depending on how you get to Volcano Manor, I think. Or like there's a whole area. What is that mountain called? That whole area?
The mountaintop of the giants? Or do you mean Mount Gelmir?
Yes. There's I think one. There's one that pops up in that area, I think. The worms in general, I think they suck. They're not particular. Like they show up and they do that weird charge move where they just run, and they're not really. And I hate any boss that's their move. It drives me up a wall. There's one fight like that in Lies of P that is absolute garbage. Which Roger, you need to play Lies of P.
I tried the demo and I didn't like it.
Roger.
You don't understand. Okay, you just didn't play enough. Okay, you just didn't. You're not a real gamer.
It just wasn't responsive enough. And then I saw that like some of the things that I didn't like about it, like the dodge timing and stuff, you can like fix later with the P organ or something. But I'm like, I don't want to like have to invest in making it's like Dark Souls 2 all over again, where you had to invest into adaptability to get iframes for your. It was like really infuriating.
It's really good.
It is really good.
Which I'm not trying to dismiss what you just said. I just love Lies of P, but this is not a Lies of P video, and I won't try to convince you right now. But there's a fight. That's all I was getting at.
D is fine for the stupid magma worms. They're not that interesting to look at. They're not that interesting mechanically. They're kind of more annoying than anything else. The only time I don't mind is there's the one, I think, on the mountaintop of the giants where there's a spot that you can stand above it and beam down.
I don't remember that one. Does it look icier or something?
No, it's another magma worm from what I remember, but it's like towards the back on like a frozen lakey looking thing.
Okay. I don't remember that at all. I wonder if I didn't encounter. I saw just the other night, you know those weird ghostly snail-looking things that you find occasionally. Have you seen them like suction to you and then just put their
I saw the video of it, but I saw like on Instagram or something, but I have never seen them do it.
Sean, I think I sent it to myself so I could show you. So those weird snail things that are almost transparent. If you get too close and their health is too low or something, they'll like latch onto you and then they put their face like they literally like suction onto your face and just suck everything out of you, and it's really gross.
Nice.
Yeah, it's the named one that's on the mountaintop of the giants that you missed, Elle. It's Great Wyrm Theodorix is the named magma worm that you actually get his ability to like take to the Dragon Communion Church to get a new spell.
Ah.
Well, I know what we're doing tonight. No.
I wonder if I fought him the first time and didn't care the second time or something. Because I definitely fought all the bosses. But is that one that it would give you a trophy for?
No, I don't know. Maybe. I mean, it is named. Okay. Like, that one's not just Magma Worm. It's Great Wyrm Theodorix.
I wonder if I just, like, figured worm and then pulled it up. I don't know. Anyway, I hate them. Next up, I don't know how we're going to feel on this one, but the Mimic tier. Sean, how do you feel about the Mimic tier?
Mimic tier is great. Just take off all your stuff and then put it back on.
You can't just take off your stuff. You got to unequip your weapon, because if you go in and you forget to do that, you're so weak to your super pumped up weapon.
But I'm just saying, then you just put it back on. You just take it off for like a second, then you're like, okay.
But if you make sure to remove everything, then it can't hardly fight against you. Yeah. I love the idea. I mean, obviously everybody gets around it, but I think the idea is really fun. What do you think, Roger?
I think it's a little bit gimmickly and a little bit played out. It's kind of like a trope that I didn't need to come back, because I mean, fighting a clone of yourself has been a thing since what? I think the first time I remember is like Ocarina of Time from Zelda. So I
was about to say Zelda.
Why? Because you look like Link?
What's that?
I said because you kind of look like Link.
I didn't know that.
Manly Link.
Manly.
A bearded Link.
Twilight Princess Link.
Viking Link.
I feel like the Mimic tier is kind of C to me. Like, it's not that interesting. It's not that memorable. It's kind of just...
I think I might put it in B, because of the fun factor. I agree, though. It's a little gimmicky, and it's not the most original, but it's the only...
With Rennala and
That's
Star
true.
Beast and creepy Ancestor spirit death reindeer thing.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's much
that's
more
fair.
on the level of like the Leonine misbegotten.
See, but I wanted Rennala higher, so. But I agree that currently, based off of what is in that tier, that it's lower than those. What do you think, Sean?
So it can say at the very bottom.
I'm
like
not.
It is,
I don't have a strong opinion either way.
We'll leave it where it is, and then maybe we'll see after. Okay. Next up, you see her more than once, but Loretta.
So are we talking about the first time or at the Erdtree?
Whichever you want to think about.
Because there's the one where you fight her in her little like pool right in front of Ronnie's stuff.
Yeah. She's fine. I that's my thing, is like she's kind of, I found her to be pretty easy both times. She's cool, but she's
more interesting the second time, right? Because isn't that when she starts trying to shoot you more often with her bow from her horseback?
I don't know, because I killed her really fast. So
I think she might be C, to be honest.
I don't have a strong opinion either way. Yeah. She's like bottom of B, top of C, whatever. She's not that interesting.
Okay.
I mean, she's not interesting for the same reasons as Rennala is not interesting to me. You just kill her and get her spell, which is fine. But
next up, this one for me goes in D tier, to be honest. It's the Dragonkin soldier.
Oh, yeah.
Which time? Are you talking about the time on the Lake of Rot? That thing is such BS.
I am thinking about when you're in, is it Noxtella?
Yeah.
It's hard to find because you have to get through the tunnels with the ants and things like that.
You have to like go back up, right, into the city.
Yeah. So, and the fight is like kind of dumb. As long as you can get between it and then get around and pretty much hit its butt, it's not anything to write home about. It's pretty easy. So for me, it's
the first time wasn't as rage-inducing for me. It was the second time when you're fighting it in the Lake of Rot, when you're trying to not roll off into the Scarlet Rot pools. I hated that one.
So you're also fine with D.
Yeah, C or D.
That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
What do you think, Sean? Yeah.
I barely even remember it. So
it doesn't have the member.
Once I
I
saw
mean,
the
the arena
picture
is
of
kind
it,
of cool, right? Because it's like that weird gigantic skeleton on a throne in the background or whatever. But like
that area is cool.
The second time is BS. The Lake of Rot should go and die.
Next up, Valiant gargoyles. I hate them.
D.
Hate them.
I mean, they're BS.
Sean,
They're not well designed. They're not interesting.
Thank you. Sean, what do you think?
I really love them. No, I'm just kidding.
Stop.
I mean, they're not bad for a magic user because you can usually nuke one before the other one shows up.
Yeah.
But like, the gank fights are always terrible.
The fact that 2 of them, because
I mean, I hate them slightly less than I hate the Godskin duo or whatever the hell they are.
Really? Wow.
I hate the Godskins more than I hate the gargoyles.
oh
That's
wow,
surprising.
hard disagree. So gargoyles for me were not that big of a deal when I replayed it. The first time though, I was losing my mind because if I'm not mistaken, you're way more susceptible to
the poison.
the poison.
Yeah, poison's rough.
And as a close range fighter, when they both start just vomiting poison on you and you basically just die instantly, it sucks. It sucks. And then the design of them, like the fight itself, because the design is cool. I think the gargoyles look cool, but the fight itself with the gargoyles, when there's 2, is just nonsense. When they charge you with their weapon and they have
they weren't
enormous
designed
range.
to be a good duo fight. It's not like back in the day in Dark Souls 1 where there was the huge, chonky, slow moving, or somewhat like the Godskin duo, right? Where you have the one faster one who tends to be whatever. They're both just annoying and in your face.
And it's hard to tell which one's which, because obviously you want to eliminate one as quick as possible. But then once they both are there, if you haven't killed the first one immediately, then you're like, gosh darn it, you're trying to get to that one. So I hated that fight. I think their range is way too big. And it's hard, as massive as they are, it's hard to actually hit them.
Because they have
So
like
that's
such
another
scrawny
thing.
little chicken legs.
Yeah. And they like spin around too fast.
Especially the halberd one.
I hate it. I hate it so much. I'm glad we're all in agreement. Sean, I'll let you kick off the next one. I know we faced this enemy more than once, and one time is one time's super easy, and then one time is way harder. So where would you put this?
I don't like the arena. It's giant.
It's too big. He teleports away too much.
And as someone who's like, as Roger said, we're prepping our magic, and then you're like, I'm gonna get him, and then he disappears and goes all the way to the other side. I wanted to like break my controller every time he did that. So I'm not a fan. He does look kind of cool, and you do
the design is really cool.
Yeah,
Like,
you get a
the
sweet
mechanic.
spell out of it though. So you get the.
I'm gonna put for now and see unless we deliberate a little bit more. So it seems like magic users and more melee fighters are in agreement, at least between.
Well, he teleports so far. Like normally, a little bit of a teleportation isn't that bad because you can just turn a little bit. But like for him, his arena is so big.
Yeah.
For me, it was that it is enormous. It's enormous, and you have to hit it in a very specific spot to do damage. And I hate that. I think that that's nonsense because the fire giant, even though it locks on to a specific spot, you can still hit its feet in the second phase and it does damage. But this, you will pretty much have to hit its head. And I think it's absolute nonsense. I hate it. But the design is amazing. And there's not really anything else like it. It's one of these that shows up where you're like, what game am I playing? Because it's just so different from most of the other ones. Okay, next up, Rykard. I feel like this is such a funny picture of just his giant face.
His voice, is that the voice acting that you're talking about? That was
He does go hard.
Yeah.
Roger, what do you think?
For gimmicky fights, I don't like it as much as I like the Dark Souls gimmick fight because you have to use the stupid, what is it, the serpent killer spear
Sword.
thingy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, spear.
But it is kind of like visually cool. So I don't know, maybe like B for me. Because you can't even really use your build. Like it doesn't really matter what your build is. Everybody almost has to fight him the same way because of his damage resistance. So like,
right. I think it was more annoying the first time because if I'm not mistaken, the first time you were.
Oh, the second time I had a +10 spirit hunting, whatever the heck. You best believe I plus that weapon.
So for me, it was that I think the first time the area that he's in is
Volcano Manor.
No.
his
I mean,
arena?
like his arena, the literal
With all
fire
Yeah, the lava sucks.
around him sucks, but the second time it's not a big deal at all. So then you just stand there and keep using.
Yeah.
I
It's
think
fine.
like the very first time there was just kind of a learning curve of like, what am I doing with this weird spear thing? You know, like
because you have to use its Ash of War.
Yeah,
and then it
exactly.
has like a follow-up attack that if you're not paying attention and doing it at the right time, or if you're too far away.
So I think I had an advantage, obviously. I for all of these. I mean, I had watched.
I mean, you had a tank.
Yeah. But I mean, like, I'm just saying, I knew already what to do. You know, but when you're first just like, what do I do with this weird spear thing?
Yeah, because you had to talk to the random ghost that appears at some point during the Volcano Manor questline if you got teleported there by weird snake girl.
Yeah.
To be fair, I feel like I just looked to the internet where I'm just like, what do I do with this? And then
Oh, because if you do the Volcano Manor quest correctly, where you actually get like recruited and teleported there, at some point there's this little ghost guy who tells you that he left his weapon in the arena that was like designed to kill Rykard. So like,
I don't think I ever did it exactly correctly. The first time, Patches pushed me off of the one cliff. And then the second time, I think I just arrived. I think I just got to it through the like Fallingstar Beast area and stuff like that. So I don't think I didn't really do quests. I remember the first time I actually had to do a quest in this game where I was like, there's quests.
yeah, because you had to talk to the girl in Liurnia and get her necklace back from the dude who like cooks prawns outside a shack. Then you had to talk to her again, but you had to go up the Dectus lift. You couldn't go around through the stupid magma beast like side tunnel. You had to go up the Dectus lift, and then she would appear and teleport you to Volcano Manor.
See, I think that I did the Dectus lift, but I didn't talk to her initially. So it's funny because I think I had a mindset of like, oh no, there's a person here. I don't want to talk to them and then accidentally make the wrong decision. But that just meant I would always pass people and then forget about them until way later when I was curious about something. And then the internet would inform me that it was too late. And I was like, oh, well, okay.
I think, is it Rykard? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
He gets the most I came straight out of Berserk all the award. Like, he looks like he's from Berserk, the manga. If we're giving points for that, but, you know. I'm
for nods.
Starting that out
Miyazaki would appreciate it, right?
Yeah.
Since he's like a huge fan and makes that whole there's a sword in the game that's supposed to be inspired by whatever his name is, right?
Yeah.
Well, aren't those enemies, Sean, in the Volcano Manor area, the ones that have the little hatch that they open and then they pull you inside, and you know what I'm talking about? They're like on wheels.
Oh
almost.
yeah. Those things
feel very but those feel very inspired by it too. So are we putting Rykard in B? Or higher or lower? It's definitely super memorable.
He is super memorable.
I would
mechanistically he does nothing.
I would certainly put him above Mimic tier.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's
I think
probably at the top of B.
Yeah.
I think Fallingstar Beast needs to go way back.
Yeah, I agree.
Is that fair? Fallingstar Beast is okay.
Fallingstar Beast might be C. Now
I think that's fair now that we've been going further in. But I like it more than these other ones, I think.
Scoot over Leonine Misbegotten. There you go. Stupid.
I'm gonna maybe do this.
That's fine.
Okay, and then I think Rykard should go ahead of. As much as I love the design of the Ancestor spirit, I think Rykard is like it's too iconic. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny.
Especially
it's kind of funny.
Actor is hilarious.
Do you remember it, Sean? We'll have to watch it later.
I remember it.
Yeah.
Because I got to it last night, and then he does the horrific thing of like ripping the sword out of the snake, and you're like, oh.
Well, then way later, that lady's over there just eating him.
We will become one, my lord. You're like, can we not?
It's funny reading people's messages in that area. Like, what are the ways in which it's been a while, but like could be death or like could be wife or something stupid that people leave. I'm not capturing any of the funny ones, but. Anyway, moving on.
Or something.
Yeah. The next one, I don't even know if I'm saying it right. Elemer? I don't know. He's the most forgettable one. He's in that area that you have to, I think, go to get a piece.
Castle?
Yes, to get a piece of something so you can get to the Erdtree later or whatever. He is so not memorable. He's just in a room. Is he the one you get the sword, Sean, from that looks like the Berserk sword? Or you get that sword in that area or something?
Maybe.
He's so forgettable that every time I'm like, who? I can't ever remember him. I don't really hardly remember the fight. It's in like a very closed, almost like a dining hall.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, Roger, I could be wrong, but your face says I don't remember him either.
I vaguely remember you don't need to kill him. He's in like the random poison castle and the Altus Plateau. And isn't he the one, does he have like little briars on his sword?
I don't remember the sword. I think you have to beat him if you want it, which I didn't get the platinum because I wasn't going to find every single weapon and extra thing. But I think
it's not
you have
every weapon,
to.
It's only the legendary ones.
Okay, well, all the stuff that you have to get, I don't care. So, but I think you have to beat him to get it. Because I remember.
I did platinum, so I did kill him.
Yeah, but doesn't that mean D tier? He's so forgettable. He's not D tier because he's bad. He's just D tier because you don't know who he is. I swear, the first time when I was getting this ready months ago, I, for the life of me, could not figure out who this was.
Yeah, he's Elemer of the Briar. So he has the weapon that you can like push forward and it like spins, right? The little like.
Oh, those are cool.
Thing.
Those are cool. But he's not. I think he's boring. Are we cool with D?
I mean, I don't care. Or C. Like, I don't feel strongly about him one way or the other. I kind of forgot he existed.
Yeah. All right. Next one. I'm looping Godfrey and Hoarah as one. I know it's literally the same fight, just different phases, but I know some people kind of consider them two different things. So I think this fight.
Yeah, Sarash on its back, right?
Yeah.
He's just kind of switched weirdly.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't like this fight. I actually think that this fight is poorly designed. I will say I use his stomping thing. That's where I get the shouting stomp. The fight is unique because nothing else really brawls like he does. So it's kind of cool in that sense. He is memorable.
And the moment when he kills Sarash to go Hoarah is pretty cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say
sad.
Hoarah like kicked my butt, and I hate him, but it's kind of cool. I mean, like he is really different, and I don't know, man. I think he's kind of. I hate him, but he's kind of cool. I like him.
I think that I constantly refer to him as Heihachi because he has certain moves in his second
the
form.
Stupid, like little wooden sandaled old grandpa with the like lightning hair. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but even his moves reminded me of Heihachi. So anyway, I do think he's really cool. No, gosh darn it!
Because I also kind of think he's A.
Yeah.
No. Okay. Well, that means
he's
it's
ending
maybe. Go ahead.
He's gonna be somewhere in B, right? Because you were gonna put him in C or D.
Well, I would have been fine with like B, maybe top of C, just because I find the fight annoying.
C.
I don't think that the fight is as well designed. I think there are certain instances where he sometimes you'll get right into the second phase and he's already started this, like your character's already stunned, and then he just comes and hits you, and that's it. And there's nothing you can do.
And he grabs you, right? In that move where he just comes out of nowhere and picks you up. You're like, oh.
Yeah.
But the WWE SmackDown is kind of funny.
I know. That's why I'm like.
See, but Rennala is cool.
Moment, but he's cool. He's so cool.
I think my problem is I just don't think that our A tier makes any sense right now. I'm looking at B tier and I'm like, iconic. And then I get to him and I'm like, he's pretty iconic. And then I look at I don't know, Margit. And I'm like,
but
Margit
it's 3,
better?
right? Because it's also mechanistically designed and memorability.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll put it this way. I think
just because they're stunning memorability.
For me, I think he's cooler than the Red Wolf and the Knight, the Nazgul people.
Because both of us wanted to put him in A. You're the one who's not letting him be an A. So
I know, but I feel like some of the other B ones deserve to be an A. I think we're gonna have to rethink some of our decisions. I'll put him in A.
No, Rennala deserves to be where she is. That's stupid.
No. I do think that I'll be honest. I kind of want to put Knights Cavalry, Margit, and Godfrey in B tier also, and leave A tier with the Wolf and.
No, because Morgit and Godfrey are memorable early game bosses. They're iconic in their own way. They're more iconic than the Wolf to me. They're also more iconic than the Knights Cavalry. You just kept him at the top of A because you love him. So
I agree.
But you guys liked it too.
But I didn't say top of A when we started reorganizing. So
I just think
Night
Rennala
Cavalry is not.
I'm confused because I feel like Rennala is way more iconic and memorable, and her design, like her actual fight, is more interesting in pretty much every way than Margit, Morgott, and Godfrey.
I don't think so, because I think that Godfrey and Margit Morgott are teaching you how to play the game. They're teaching you the roles.
Fair.
Their design is like way more fair to me versus Rennala. Like, it depends. Like, if you're
That's
very
fair.
physical, you just stun her out of doing most of her spells.
Yeah, that's true.
Which like isn't like exactly interesting mechanistically to me. Like, sure, it plays into the fact that she's a frail mage lady and can't focus on her spells when you punch her in the face with a gigantic sword. But
how about Knight's Cavalry goes back here, and I just really I like the Red Wolf a lot, but if I'm alone in that, that's okay.
Oh, I like its design a lot, and I think it's an interesting fight. I think that, to me, Mr. Godfrey is probably the top of A, because he's not quite S for me, but like...
Yeah. Well, I don't think we started doing within individual early.
Yeah,
right?
we
were like...
yeah.
Okay. And...
I don't recognize who's next. So I'll have to wait for you to tell me.
Oh,
I see the Fire Giant and Malenia, but I don't recognize the other person.
So we'll jump into this next one. This one, I never know how to say his name. Is it Niall? He's the one that you have to
the
fight.
guy at Castle Soul.
And he like has like minions with him all the time. He like summons...
I freaking hate him.
Yeah, I don't like him either.
I think it's also frustrating that because there's a room not far from his arena, and you obviously
it sucks.
So
getting
you
to
run
him is the worst. I hate it.
Do you want to explain why, Sean? What's annoying about it?
Because they like follow you into there. Like they stab you through the stupid door.
Through the
I hate it.
Which is especially annoying if when you first come in, you either want to do the beam like you two do, or if you just immediately want to summon your mimic, if that's how you fight. Yeah, you get poked. It's so annoying because you obviously want to do that stuff before you and the boss are right in front of each other. Where did I initially have him?
But also, like, when you die, you don't want to go back and fight all those guys.
No, so you try to run past.
Yeah, because they're not easy.
There's a random enemy in this castle that is like the true hardest boss. Do you know what I'm talking about? There's an invisible person that just shows up and kills you. And it like you have to be really careful to avoid them. I don't remember I think it's in this area. And I think most people just see him and then don't engage, so they don't know how difficult it is. If I can find some kind of YouTube short or something, I'll send it to you, Roger. But yeah, I had him in the bottom tier.
Oh yeah,
are any of us upset?
He's stupid.
No, he's dumb.
Okay, do we want to say where? We'll do bottom tier later, because bottom tier is like, just how much do we hate these? So next up, we have Fire Giant. S tier for me.
S tier for me.
Roger, don't do it.
I don't hate him. He would be more like A for me, but S is okay. Like, he's very memorable. I hate some of his mechanics, just like rolling around on top of you, but it's hard not to like when he like rips off his leg and has a creepy chest eye. Like, it is quite memorable.
Definitely really memorable.
And the music's really good.
The music is so good.
Really good.
So good. I do think too that this one
also
you definitely
sad. He's the last one.
I know.
Taken over by the Spell God or something, right?
I just remember that I actually felt like I could learn how to fight him, and that made me happy. As somebody who has to get up close to at first I hated this fight so much, but once I actually felt like I learned it, then I felt like I earned the victory, you know? But it also made me sad.
He's pretty challenging too. Even for like I know we keep saying like Roger and I just run up and use our magic, but like it's also a big arena and he moves around a bunch, so
the biggest,
his
right?
Little
Basically,
like
yeah, like ah!
Yeah. And his when he just summons like meteors, basically. All right, I know we all like maybe to some degree hate her, but I feel like Malenia is S tier.
Yeah, she's cool.
I mean, the first time you get to like the butterfly goddess or whatever the hell she gets called, it's like, okay.
Wait, what does that mean? What do you mean the fight happens?
Oh, her design is really cool. Because like initially her design isn't as cool to me. Just like the huge sword with her like helmet is like fine. But then when she like transforms into the rock goddess and then starts like jumping at you and forming gigantic whatever it is, Scarlet Aeonias, it's like, okay, fine.
I just hear the like high singing choir I hear it in my head right now because obviously I had to try fighting her so many times.
But
so
that
it's
stupid
just...
water swallow dance is BS.
There
the
was
amount
one
of healing
time
she gets from it is obscene.
if you survive. But there was I was recording one time because I was like doing a vlog and I was like, I'll insert some clips of Elden Ring. And I dodged it the best I've ever dodged it. And I was like, that's never happening again. I was so excited. I was like, I got it. I caught it. But there are people that are perfect with it. And they're like, it's not that hard once you figure it out. And I'm like, yeah, it is. Because you have one chance to get it right. And if you don't, you're dead, basically. So anyway.
I beat her in 3 tries because something went wrong. I don't know how it happened.
Because the beam actually hit perfectly.
It did. She was like going after my mimic, I think, and I just like beamed her like right in her face, and I was like, "Yay!"
Yeah,
I think I just
it
did
worked
that
out
twice.
very well
Yeah.
for you. So, do we
It's
want to
really
try
easy.
to?
I don't know if anyone. I don't know why
Stop.
anyone has a problem with it.
Stop. Do we want to try to rank within S tier? I mean, I think she might be number 1. I know she's
think
like the
Fire
hardest
Giant
to
might
fight.
be number 1, but you know,
That's. I don't know that I think Radahn should be number 1.
Yeah.
For me, I would do. I think, if it'll work, I would do. I think this.
I mean, I'm okay with that too. That's fine.
But I think Roger, you like Radahn maybe a little more than the both of us do. What do you think?
I mean, I like him more than the Fire Giant,
But Sean would put
2 to
Fire
1.
Giant number 1. I think maybe this is the most even across our feelings.
probably.
Okay. Next up, the one that apparently you hate a lot, the Godskin duo.
I think they're stupid. I think they're poorly designed. I don't think they're designed well to be a duo. I think it's also just like putting 2 random enemies together and like buffing up their health pools.
A big one and a little one really is all. Like they're like, what's a little one we've had? What's a big one?
Nothing about it is like interesting mechanistically. You just have to like hide and hope to kite one and get it stuck with its potato AI around a building while you fight the other. Like that's not interesting gameplay. Or you just hope that you can nuke one fast enough. Like I hate them. For me, they'd be D. I hate them. I think it's so stupid. It's like a poor shadow of what they used to do with like duo fights.
I wonder if somebody out there who knows the lore behind why they would be paired together, which maybe you do, Roger, but I wonder if somebody out there is like, it's not random. It means something.
I haven't heard that much. I mean, I've heard about the Godskins in general, and like the Umbral Queen or whatever. That's like theoretically maybe hypothesize another outer god, but like I haven't heard anything about these 2 in particular.
So I think I would put them in C. I don't think I hate them nearly as much as you do. Just because...
and then the run back to them, if you die, is such BS.
See, I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I think someone else we talked to hated this fight too. And I thought it was not that bad. But I think this fight is much easier if you have really high health and you don't get hit as hard by physical attacks. Then... I don't think it's big of a deal because you can get hit a few times because the one guy stretches himself out and can hit you a lot. And then I don't like the bigger one that just kind of bumps you and stuff. I don't know. What do you think,
I think
Sean?
they're obviously more annoying if you're trying to play ranged because they try to close distance all the time. So like for you, it probably didn't matter as much because you don't care because you're also trying to close distance all the time.
Yep.
You're like, come to me. Let me hit you in the face.
Yep. What do you think,
I
Sean?
didn't think they were the worst.
Okay, but did you ever try them on your own?
I think I did do them on my own.
I think you did.
Yeah, I did a lot of the end by myself, but that's after
you got the beam.
Well, I think to be fair that this one was one that you almost don't even know it's coming. So I think you just walked in, you're like, uh-oh, and then you got it just fine, I'm pretty sure. I don't think we were like, all right, this is Malekith. Let's team up. I'm fine putting it at the bottom of C. And Sean, is that cool with you?
Well, Sean seems ambivalent about them because he didn't even actually fight them.
It's not true.
He's bottom.
Roger's being mean.
Okay, I don't know
Although
what to
you
say.
fight them a few times though, right?
Yes.
Yeah, together.
What, Sean?
You fight them a few times together, though, right?
I think you fight them individually.
You fight them individually. You fight the chonky one in Volcano Manor.
Oh, you're right.
You fight the scrawny one in the creepy village with the crazy
lady. The windmill village, yeah.
Yeah. Well, also, The bigger one, doesn't the bigger one randomly show up on some kind of like bridge that connects you to
after Lanedell, in between Lanedell and the mountaintop of the giants, if you're going to the Divine Tower.
The tall one is cooler on their own, I think, than they are. I didn't bother putting them in as individual because I just figured, let's just do it as the duo. But I think that the individual one would probably be more like B tier, but together they weirdly makes it less, I guess, for us. But anyway, yes, the dragon next up. I feel like it's got to at least be A.
Oh, I love him. I would put him
he's
in
awesome.
Okay. He's so cool.
Okay.
Like,
I was going to say
like lightning claws and his like golden beams of doom, like Godzilla style.
Plus, I do think
getting there so weird.
Laying in the weird like little recess with all the skeletons.
Yeah.
Well, and speaking of weird ways to get places, the gargoyle fight of just like getting inside the thing and then pulling the lid over and it just gets carried along this waterfall or like up a waterfall or you get an after, right? You get an after the fight. Yeah. Anyway, back to the dragon.
Did she abandon us?
Oh no, she's gone. Well, anyway,
good, let's start moving stuff around. Let's put Rennala in D.
No. Anyway, am I good?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was just saying, I think that a lot of the dragon fights get repetitive, and this one actually doesn't just stand out from the dragon fights. It stands out as an awesome fight in general. So
he's so cool.
I liked it. I think, yeah. Would you put it ahead of Radahn?
I actually might. I really like Placiduous.
Okay. Is that cool with you, Sean?
Especially his little teleporty claw thing when he like disappears and then reforms into like a little cloud. He's pretty cool.
He's like,
and his stuff is really fair. There's nothing that felt like BSy or like super gimmicky about his fight. Like you could definitely learn his fight.
By the way, that's another one I did by myself, Roger.
Allegedly.
It's true.
I think that fight's a little harder for me, maybe, than the both of you.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he teleports away, but not that far.
Him, yeah.
Well, I think a lot of times, too, with dragon fights, I would get on my horse and I would just hit their legs. If they were really high leveled, I'd go between their legs, hit their tail, whatever. And this one, you can't do that. So it definitely made it a lot more challenging. Next up, we have Malekith.
Now, this is one I did not do by myself. Thank you very much.
He is awesome. He has to be an S.
Dude, he's awesome. I hate it. He's hard, but I hate him.
For me, he's almost like right behind Malenia, but it's still above Fire Giant.
I would not be upset about that.
I wouldn't be upset by that either. He's pretty legit.
Cool.
Like, just how he looks is awesome.
That's the armor I wear on my mage. I wear the Malekith armor, but not the helmet because I don't like the helmet. So the helmet, I do like the black assassin hood thing.
So your character just probably looks super cool.
I mean, I have like 60 vigor, 50 endurance, 50 like of whatever to give me FP, 99. Like I'm pretty stacked. I got to level 300 last night.
My character, I swap depending on the area or who I'm fighting, but one of the best for strength is that like beetle really round armor.
Oh, I love that.
Where you can just like, Sean gets so happy the second I'm switching back to it. He's like, it's so funny.
It's the best. Just watching you like trudge around.
Any cutscene too. Any cutscene where you walk in, you have this enormous belly. It's always
it's like
so
that
funny.
Weird, like it's like really low to your head.
Visor?
Like, yeah. It's great.
Yes, it's pretty great. Okay, I already know. I did separate
Elden Beast.
I separated Hold on, let me talk. I separated Radagon from Elden Beast because I do feel like they're distinct enough. I think that they're very different. The fights are totally different, even though it's, different phases. But anyway, do we want to do Radagon first and then Elden Beast?
No, you already have it up there. Elden Beast is the worst. And
I hate it. I hate it.
It should die forever.
I hate it.
I think Elden Beast is fine in B tier.
It's like the astral one, the one that's complaining about the giant arena. It's like that except worse. It's horrible. No, I hate it.
It's moves you can dodge.
Falling stars, except for that stupid gigantic area that you have to try to remember to like jump over the little. I hate it. It's stupid.
It looks cool. But you can learn
D tier.
what to do.
D
Hold
tier.
on, you can learn what to do to avoid its moves. The reason I don't agree with the astral comparison is because you can hit it, like you can go behind it and hit it. You can dodge perfectly when it uses the swipe attack.
If you can ever get close to it before it just teleports
it's
away.
So far away, it's dumb, and then it goes and floats up in the air.
I hate it.
Yeah, D.
I think it's the play style that you have versus the play style that I have makes a big difference in this fight because
it's D.
I
don't know if that makes sense to me though,
Fine.
because you still have to track it down. Like we at least can try range stuff. It's a real pain. I hate it.
I think way too much help.
I'll tell you what I think the problem is because the ranged attacks are not far enough for both of you.
Yeah.
Like you'll go to use a spell and it will try to track it and then it just disappears before it gets to it. I can at least, after certain moves, if you read it, you can hit it. You can get a good amount. And if you have your mimic with you, if you use a mimic, if you both can get it at a certain point, you can do some pretty serious damage. So I don't know. I feel like it's not as bad, but I do think it's skewed toward my playstyle over yours. I think it kind of because you'll see people online that make fun of how the two of you play, which I think is stupid to do because the game invites you to play in different ways. But I do think certain fights are much harder for certain builds, and then others obviously it's true of. So I think this is just one of those ones that's way more punishing to
but
your
even if
style.
I swap to a sword, because I also play with the Dark Moon Greatsword.
Me too.
Like all the time. Like it's still annoying to chase that stupid fluffy thing down.
So I just want to say two things. Roger, this is another one I beat by myself.
Allegedly.
It's very frustrating. And two, whoever put up the advice to use the glintstone spiral or whatever it's called, that was good advice.
Yeah, that was fun to watch.
Awesome.
I haven't fought it with that. I mean, it makes sense because it's a huge boss, so it gets a ton of hits on it, right?
Yeah, it like just like bam, 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 and I was like, yes.
It's like a corkscrew.
I'll try when I get to it later.
No, use it for sure. It's awesome.
I watched
do like
Sean.
A bunch of those, and
he basically contemplated life. Like I think he wanted.
It broke me. I was very upset.
Well, it's infuriating, and then you always have to kill Radagon again every time, and then you start being a shady, cheesy mofo because then you find out, according to the internet, that if you use Carrion Slicer, Radagon never activates. So you can literally just kill him without him ever moving by just hitting him with Carrion Slicer over and over. So you can just redo the Elden Beast.
That's where
I was on my first playthrough.
You know what I did the first time?
To which I think.
Yeah, the first time Radagon, I'm pretty sure there's certain moves that he doesn't react to. So you just get right up next to him and then you can do certain little like spells or bolts or whatever.
Poisoned him and
I poisoned him.
Just bonked him and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I did with Carrion Slicer. You can literally run up to him, and because it doesn't stagger him or move him at all, you can literally just chunk out his whole life bar. You just keep.
I'm fairly certain they.
I was gonna say I think they patched it because I had to fight him every time, and I was like, I hate this, and this is the worst game ever. And then when I beat it, I was like, it's the best game ever.
Where would you put Radagon?
I mean, he's kind of cool, except for the fact that he gets like tangential irritation because he was the obstacle to me getting stuck on Elden Beast all the time.
Yeah.
It's like his design is cool, his moves are cool, he's a fair fight in and of himself, but having to kill him every time to get back to Elden Beast is infuriating.
I agree with all that. And Elden Beast is the worst.
Is BS.
Is Radagon in B tier cool with you guys?
Yeah, I think so.
Would you put him above Mimic? I feel like it's fair to put him above Mimic.
I'd put him above the Ancestral Spirit, too.
Yeah, I agree with that, too.
I do as well. Okay, next up, we have the Tree Sentinel duo. I hate these guys. I would like to put them at least at the bottom of C.
I know the Tree Sentinel Knights that you obviously fight them all the time. The duo, I don't remember where
this is. This isn't from the gate, right?
For Lendil.
Yeah,
they come down together.
I was really shady this last time because I went around the back,
and it's like there's like stairs, and I don't care for it, but I don't
have strong opinions one way or the other. It'd probably be
it's not like my deep loathing of Elden Beast. It's not anything like that. Nothing.
I just really
no, but then nothing about the design is cool enough to put it in B.
Yeah,
it's like fine.
Okay. I don't know if we need to say much else. That's probably about it. I put just in general the Erdtree avatars, I think is what they're called, as their own.
The stupid scarlet ones, I hate.
I hate them.
The other ones are fine, but the ones that do the scarlet rot fart, like, should be
scarlet fart.
I hate the one in the Erdtree area where you're on that, which I guess if you beam them, maybe you guys are fine. But there's like
it's still really annoying.
Stretch.
The one that's like by Millicent or whatever, like towards the end, and like the cool like flower field.
It's more of where you know that there's two.
Talking about on the wall.
Yeah, there's two in this pretty close together. There's an area where I was just talking to you about the other day where like there's all these crossbow, like the giant bow people.
Oh,
and there's one right in front. And it's
awful.
you just have to run and pray kind of a thing and try to get to the save. And then and then like well, the best part is you hit it and it will go into that tiny room and then you go down the stairs and you can just peek out and throw stuff at it and turn and peek out and throw stuff at it. And then once it leaves, you can come back, hit it, and do the same thing. You can just keep doing that. But not that one specifically, but there's one right in that same area that's along a path. And that one drove me up a wall because it would also do, it might not have been Scarlet Rot. It might have been, no. It would do that. And you're on this tiny little,
It was Scarlet Rot.
It was Scarlet Rot. Okay. And you're on a pretty small, narrow area. And the amount of times I would have like 2 hits left on it and I would roll off and I'd be like, no, because there's a couple spots that are open. They're not all, I don't think it's open all the way.
I shot it from above and then I would hide. And I did that for forever until it was dead. So,
do you know which one we're talking about, or do you think you
I do now? Because I was also going to get confused because aren't there the rotten tree spirits that are more like weird things that like attack you really quickly? Like there's the one in that like lake.
I didn't include those. I didn't include those, but we can kind of consider them a part of these because they show up in the same
what
areas.
Are we talking about? Okay.
Yeah. I think these are pretty cool.
I think they're cool. I think the design is pretty nifty.
I would put them above Mimic, I think, in B tier.
I think so too.
The fact that there are so many of them and how the fights can be kind of frustrating maybe keeps it there, though. What do you guys think?
That's fair.
I think it's fair.
That's fair. All right, Roger, you just fought this next one.
The Lichdragon Fortissax.
Yeah. Where would you put it?
I mean, his design is super cool, but he's not that different from any of the other dragons.
Yeah.
It's like
where was this one? Is this one
That's when you go into Fia's dream.
Oh, yeah.
So it's when you've done the whole crazy, you've gotten hugged a lot and gotten her weird 5% HP curse.
Yes. The hugging is such a weird part of this.
And it takes so long. You're like, can you please let me go?
We don't just hug her. You like lay in her lap. It's really weird. You become very childlike. I
think that's a fair spot. I mean, he is really cool looking, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Next up, we have Moog. Okay. Moog looks cool, but I don't know what it is. Both times, it was the easiest boss of the whole game for me. And I see people talk about how challenging it is, and I'm like, where? It's so easy. I don't understand.
If you let him get you all 3 times with his stupid little stabbing into the primordial placenta or whatever he's doing to get out the blood, like...
Yeah, I've thought that the fight was so easy. I would put it in C just because it definitely looks cool and I'm not mad about it, but the fight itself is non-existent for me.
I personally think the Lord of Blood deserves more than C, but yeah.
I would at least
like. I think his fight is well designed if he gets to go through his mechanics, but obviously by the point you get to him, usually you are really OP.
I wonder what point most people get to him. Maybe
super late because you either, unless you messed up and did Vari's quest line and got teleported there real early and used the thing that he tells you not to use, and then you could get teleported to like that place super early. Otherwise, the entrance to it is in the Lichtree zone.
Oh, that's true.
I feel like I got to it earlier. I definitely got to it through, I think, a quest line.
That's what I'm saying, that you could do it really early from Liurnia, from Vare's questline. If you did the 3 invasions and you go dye the thing in the Maiden's Blood in some weird church behind the Eye of Sauron, then he gives you like a thing that he tells you not to use. And then if you use it, it teleports you near Moog.
So I definitely got there through that quest, but I was still way too strong because when I fought, or unless I got there and then got to that area and then came back and fought the boss later. Which that's
100% possible. Can, because it teleports you before his, whatever they call it, I don't remember. And there's a side of grace there, then you could just teleport back out.
You know what I think happened? I think I just purely wanted to get there so I could kill that stupid bird over and over again to get experience. That's probably what happened. But yeah, for me, if you guys think he belongs in B tier, that's totally fine. We can put him maybe there.
That's fine.
Okay. Or do you think he deserves to be above the avatars? Do you think he should be...
I think he's good there.
Good where he is?
Way.
I think he was good at the end. Because, I mean, you don't like him enough to raise him up, I think, more. Have to keep.
And we don't like him enough to raise him that much higher either. He's kind of a B tier for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's on similar lines with Rennala and Rykard, where I think they're really cool and they have a lot of interesting lore implications, but the fights I didn't really particularly...
Okay. The last thing I have is just dragons, because there's a lot of them, and some of them, like there's the one in, I don't know how you say, if you say Khalid or Khalid, but there's the one there that's just a nightmare if you're not strong enough.
Exekies or whatever, that jerk face.
There's the really cool one that you both definitely had to encounter to get a certain spell or something, or the moon sword or something or other. Which that one's really pretty cool looking.
Yeah. I like
there's the one that's in the lake that's always sad to kill because I feel like it's just minding its business. I really hate the one.
Everything
I need the key to the academy.
Its business.
That was Alex last night. He was like, "Why does everything hate you that they just try to kill you on sight?" And I'm like, I don't know.
I also think there's the lightning one drives me up a wall. The one that you go to the one area and it shows up and then disappears, and then you have to find it way later in a different area. Yeah. That one annoys me. The dragon fights for me.
Well, there's a really annoying one, right? When you're in Farum Azula and it's like pretty far away and it keeps summoning lightning on you and you're trying to run past things to get to it.
So I think that the dragon fights are much better if you have ranged attacks. They look 100%. Way better. If you are somebody who does close quarters,
it's hitting their feet over.
Well, and it looks like you can't even see it. It's just like weird camera angles. So I think that
because we get to revel in the splendor that is their at least artistic design, where you just get to see their fupas.
And the dragons, the dragons do look magnificent in this game. And there's always that kind of excitement when you first start of like, oh my gosh, it's a dragon. So I like the design when you are pulled back and you can actually see them. There's a lot of cool aspects of them. I think
they land in B because their design is really cool.
Yes.
And some of them are way more interesting than others because there's also like the one that stands on that bridge outside of like where you meet the beast clergyman.
Yep.
And like that one does nothing.
Fire
it just
one.
like does nothing.
And then there's
the sad mom
dying. The one that's just old.
Yeah. No, don't talk about the dying one. It's so sad to just hit it over.
So long to kill.
It's so
I
much
know.
HP. But it gives so many. It gives so many runes. What are you supposed to do?
You gotta get those runes, man.
What else could I possibly do besides slaughter it slowly?
Well, it does nothing. You just stand by its tail.
And you just hear it like making noise. You're like, no, stop. It's sad.
Okay, it is funny that you say
it's not as sad. You would be heartbroken by the Sith fight.
Like...
In Dark Souls 1, there's a fight that is very sad and would break your heart. Because there's a part towards the end where it like limps towards you when it's at low life. And you're like, I'm sorry. I know you're just trying to protect your master, but you gotta go.
Sorry. No, I don't like it. That makes me sad.
So sad. Have you seen that fight, Sean, with Sif? It's really sad. You get it to low life and it literally like holds one little paw up and like limps towards you. And then you still have to kill it.
No. So do we want to rearrange anything or do we feel like that's pretty good? I don't think we looked pretty good. I don't think we really tried very hard in the D tier. I think we kind of just threw stuff down there.
Well, Elden Beast is the bottom of the barrel for me. I hate him so much.
Okay, I'm sorry, but Elden Beast is way above those last two who are nobodies. They're nobody
The Elden
nothings.
Beast sucks.
Elden
Yeah,
Beast
but
is
nothing
awful.
brought me more rage.
There's more memorability,
Roger,
and there's
I'm
more.
glad that we're on the same page here.
There's
It's
more
terrible.
attempt at an actual fight, and there's more attempt at a design.
Yeah, but it's a bad fight, and it's bad.
I don't think it's bad. It could be. It's fair to say it's frustrating, but I don't think it's like I think the gargoyle fight is actually bad. I don't think this one is.
No, the gargoyles don't enrage me anywhere near as much as Elden Beast.
Elden Beast was like close to like me just
Quitting.
never playing again.
It's also
just
the
being like, I don't
final
wanna do
boss, though. It's the
yeah,
final
but
boss.
there were a couple of times where it's like, do I care enough to see the ending? But now I'm going to try the crystal spiral thing because maybe that will be my ticket to stop hating it as much.
I think I
really
tried maybe like 3 times after I saw that, but I didn't feel enraged. I was like, okay, I think I can do it now. Because up till that point, I was like, it's not going to happen. Like I was despairing.
I do have a question. Did you find that you were hit enough and you had to use enough of your flasks on Radagon, so you didn't have nearly as many on that fight?
No, remember, because I cheesed Radagon because I got so fed up.
Oh, that's right.
The Elden Beast. Radagon did nothing. He never touched
Radagon.
me.
I actually
didn't
could
use
go
a
pretty
single
fast with the beam. If he was like distracted, you could get him pretty. The spirals worked on him too, not as much.
They kind of stun.
Yeah,
a little bit.
I'll let you guys know if it still works when I get to him. If I can still carry and slicer him to death.
I really don't think you can.
I'll find out.
I don't think it's a thing. I really just cannot put it at the bottom. I feel like there's no way it belongs behind.
But it's your channel. You do whatever you want. It's
better than it's better than the magma worm. Are you kidding?
Not. No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No,
the magma worm just
doesn't bring you rage though.
Yes, it does.
Not
yes,
the
only to you because it like breathes magma in your face.
No, the other fight I could actually.
I think it's only different because of the way that our play styles work. Like if
because you guys are used to beaming everything, and you have to actually learn the moves.
No, but even when you learn the moves, sometimes you can't avoid it. Sometimes the stupid Elden Stars thing has such crazy tracking.
You just have to run. There's certain moves,
but we don't all have enough stamina to do it.
It's true.
Well, raise your stamina. If your intelligence wasn't at 99 and you redid it a little bit, you'd be fine.
No, I mean now I have tons of stamina, but when I was first fighting it, I'm trying to think about the first playthrough, not the fourth, because now it's like quite different.
I don't know. I guess it is 2-1.
At least put them in the middle of D.
I have to put it above the gargoyles. Is that fair? Because it can't be exactly in the middle because of the amount. I can't believe the stupid magma worm is above this stupid thing. That is beyond reason, but
it's
forgettable
forgettable to me, but it's not enraging.
Reason. I think we're giving you reasons. I don't think
your reasons
the magma worm I don't hate.
Yeah,
I don't like it. I think it's dumb and it's not like exciting in any way, and its design isn't exciting, but it's also not rage inducing to the point where I want to quit.
I think Malenia is so much harder than this thing.
I don't remember on my first playthrough who I died to more. For Malenia, I probably bought PlayStation Plus and had somebody come in and help me because I don't usually have PlayStation Plus.
Malenia was the first fight, and I honestly think that one I think I got so tired of the first time I played it, the Hoarah Loux fight. I think those were the only 2 that I had people come in and help. And then the second time I just did everything. But I don't think that the Elden Beast was that troublesome in comparison to Malenia and
I don't know. I died a lot to Elden Beast.
Yeah, it's not even close for me. I died so much from Elden Beast.
You have a very weird experience with Malenia though. Like killing her on your 3rd try is like very abnormal because she is a hoe.
Yeah, it was pretty disappointing watching it and just being like, well, cool.
You know, it was fun though, just because I was like, I guess I'm really good. Which I know is not true. But
the Elden Beast humbled you.
Yeah.
Elden Beast sucks. Because you're kind of ready to be done. You're ready to wrap it up. You're like, okay, this is the final boss.
That's true.
And then you get stuck on that piece of trash.
I think that I know we're not going to go into Lies of P for a great amount of time, but I think the final boss in Lies of P was a lot harder than Elden.
Oh, I had to cheat.
It was so difficult. But
I hear that the final boss of Shadow of the Erdtree is like the hardest From Software boss people have ever experienced, and that is not making me excited.
I've heard
like,
it's
oh god.
I heard it's like, oh, you're gonna wish for Malenia, and you're just like, no, I don't want to.
It's like, oh god.
I know.
Hopefully not. Hopefully we can just get all the stupid little whatever thingies and buff ourselves up, right? Because there's that new thingy that you have to use to buff your damage and damage resistance, but only in the shadow realm.
That already sounds way too complicated.
That does sound interesting. I think
it's just an item that you find. It's like reinforcing your flask, but you reinforce yourself in some fashion.
Okay. I tell me if you think this is fair. I kind of want to put the Knights Cavalry, as cool as they are, I kind of want to put them here.
I mean, that's fine. It was only dragged so high because you love them so much. We both think they're cool.
It's true.
Now you can't see.
Oddly, Roger and I were more on the same wavelength throughout.
Which is not shocking because our playstyle made it so we experience these bosses in very similar ways.
We play exactly the same way.
Except I probably had a little bit less of a learning curve because I've played every From Software game that's like this. I played Demon Souls, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3 multiple times each. And then I played Sekiro and Bloodborne.
Sean, I don't even know if Sean really even had a learning curve because he watched me play so much. And for so much of the beginning, I just accompanied him everywhere.
He had training wheels.
Yes, but he did make it all right it was really funny. The second it was an area I couldn't join him in, he instantly was like, this is so dumb. This area sucks. And you're like, this area that I can't.
They're supposed to be adding seamless co-op with the DLC. So you guys should be able to be together the whole time if you want to be.
Oh, fun.
That's crazy.
That would be fun. I do think we're going to
because they added it for PC, but it was like a mod. So it obviously never came to console, but I think they're adding it with the DLC to console that you can have seamless co-op and just be together, not just at bosses.
Oh, fun. Well, we would join each other roaming the land. We would go to places together.
But once you beat a boss, it'd kick you out. They'd be like, hey, get out of here.
Then we'd have to wait. I think that the area that Sean couldn't navigate with me was Lendale. I think because I'd already destroyed it in my world or something.
Oh.
Sean tried to do it. He was like, oh, this place is stupid. And I'm like, I mean, that's
But the first time you walk out into Lendale, that view with the like dragon corpse or whatever the heck it is.
So cool.
And all the golden roofs, like, come on.
It is cool.
Oh yeah.
But is there anything else? Is there anything else that we should change?
I feel like you should save it. And then we should reconvene after we've beaten Shadow of the Erdtree and then add in those bosses.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'll remember. Or at the very least, I can just keep these and put them back right as we're about to play. That'd be fun. I almost wonder because aren't there a lot of new bosses?
Yeah.
I almost wonder if we're gonna
or something.
That's what I heard. Like 33, right?
Yeah, then I heard that it's like adding 40 or 50 hours of gameplay for most people. That it's almost like a whole nother freaking game.
I almost think we're going to need another tier. Maybe arena will actually have to be a factor too or something. I don't know. I need another melee. You know what? Petrick plays melee. I'm going to need to recruit Petrick.
What did Enrique play? Did he play with the beam like us?
Enrique is melee.
Enrique is literally it doesn't make any sense because I feel like he just equips whatever.
Yeah,
and you're like,
probably play with such random weapons, like the
dude is beating it like
or
3 or 4 times though.
Yeah,
so, you know, like,
yeah. If we can get them to join us after the DLC, and once we've all played through it,
Rennala all of a sudden shoot up because they're like, I love her. She just looks cool.
It will be funny to me. Okay, speaking of, Enrique was asking us like, how come you guys don't think Lulu is like the hottest Final Fantasy character? And we're like, Enrique, stop.
When she's like this all the time with her little teddy.
Yes. And I was like, I didn't realize you had a thing for goth mommies. But anyway, so it will be interesting. Like, let's say we recruited Enrique and or Petrick. It would be really funny if they agreed with you on stuff, and then I'm just like, no, all over again.
I'll have to DM Enrique if he's joining and be like, tell her that Rennala is D tier.
Stop it. Rennala is not D tier. Get out of here.
No, she's not. I'm happy with where she ended up. Top of B is fine because she is really cool and memorable, but I still think that her fight is stupid.
I mean, I think Hoarah Loux is garbage. I actually kind of think I think the A tier is so weird. I don't know that I feel like our A tier doesn't make any sense, but that's okay. I feel like our S tier makes perfect sense.
Morgott makes sense. People like he is the first boss, at least as Morgott. Like he's your first boss. He is like your litmus test for learning this game.
But I think our S tier is like pretty great. And aside from my disagreement about Elden Beast, I think D tier is like perfect. C tier, I'm like, yeah, those ones aren't great. I almost would put, I don't know. I really don't like Astel. It's just the cool factor that keeps it higher. But yeah, I feel like our B tier is
not rage inducing to me. It's like annoying that he teleports away, but it's like I'm able to get around that because like, he also attacks incredibly slowly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't need to rehash my arguments again. This was super fun. I enjoyed especially that we actually kind of argued a little, because sometimes you do these tier rankings and everybody's like, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I like that spot, and which is fun. But I like when there's a little bit of butting heads. So this was a lot of fun. Can't wait for Shadow of the Erdtree. Yes.
It should be pre-downloaded today, right?
Really?
Because 48 hours, because it goes live at 9 p.m. PDT Thursday. So 48 hours ahead is 9 p.m. PDT Thursday.
You knew that.
I thought it was Friday.
You told me Thursday a while ago.
I know. I got confused again. Yeah. I forgot that today. For some reason, I know. I asked Sean months in advance to take Thursday, Friday off so we could have a staycation and just play as much of this as possible.
Yeah, it doesn't go live for us until 9 p.m. But yeah,
which is fine.
But you can pre-download it in 50 minutes because it's 48 hours pre-download where you. So that way you can log in at 9 p.m.
Yeah, my plan is Thursday. We're going to look at everything that you're supposed to do, everything you're supposed to know, get everything ready, and then as soon as you can, jump in. That's my plan, and I'm really pumped about it. I'm so excited.
Then after that, at 9:05, I plan on getting angry at the game.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. It's going to be rage inducing because the way that they did the scaling, they made everything hits way harder and has way more life. It's all scaled with the expectation of you being maxed to the 9s. And so the only way to circumvent that is getting the Skadu tree fragments that are like an exploration material that buffs you and your damage resistance. And you have to get an item that buffs your ashes and their damage resistance.
Is that only available once the download is available, or is that like an update? We could go get those things now.
They're only in the Shadow Realm, so it doesn't buff you all the time. It's only in the Shadow Tree Realm area.
And you can only...
you find them by exploring the Shadow Tree area, and they only buff you in that area.
Gotcha. Okay. Because
the only things that you have to make sure that you do is you have to have killed Radahn and Mohg.
Which, yeah. Cool. All right. This will be fun. We will reconvene... Dude, I don't even know how long it's going to be for us to get through the bosses.
Well, knowing you, it's going to be 3 months because you're going to get towards the very end on the last boss and be like, I don't want it to be over.
Stop it. Don't call me out. Don't do it. It's like every game I play, I don't want it to be over, so I literally just like end it for no reason. It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, okay. This is lots of fun. I really look forward to when we come back and we can all scream about how rage-inducing all the new bosses are. So, anyway, any final things to note?
Elden Beast sucks.
Elden Beast sucks.
Okay, maybe it's you guys that suck, but whatever. Thanks for joining. Bye.